What's up? What's up? Welcome to the live stream. We're going to give folks a few minutes to get logged in here and check it out. We're going to check out some tunes while we wait, all right? Come on, let's get it. Yeah. Hello, what's going on? Your host here, Joseph Ausmus with eXp Realty. It's a pleasure to start the series up here. This is Ask a Realtor. We're live on YouTube right now. Appreciate you being here. If you're checking it out live, feel free to interact in the chat box. Let me know what questions that you would like for me to address. I'll do my best to get to everything on this, but we're planning to do this weekly too. So I invite you to spread the word, let other folks know about this. If you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, it will notify you when we are going live and keep you in the loop on all the fun that we're having here. Wednesdays at 6 Mountain Time. This is the first one, so I thought I'd kick it off with a fun little, hair metal jam there to begin with. And we're going to dive right into some content here for you guys. So the first topic that I wanted to chat with you guys about is actually taken right from our Colorado Down Payment Assistance Program called CHAFA, and it's coming right from their course. So in Colorado, we have down payment assistance available to first-time home buyers. And part of the agreement there is you have to take a 5-hour course, first-time homebuyer class, at the end of which you receive a certificate. And you send that along to your lender so that you can receive your down payment assistance. I actually have taught those classes in years past and always had a great time doing it. So I thought that would be just a great jumping off point for this whole Q&A. But this is not just reserved for first-time home buyers. I want to keep this very open, very broad strokes available to folks who have questions about selling a home, buying an investment property, or even about what it's like being a realtor, right? So, all open for any questions that you may have pertaining to real estate. I nerd out on this topic. It's my career and my passion. I love helping people buy and sell. So, really happy to devote some time to making this happen. And who knows what'll happen, right? So let's kick it off here with how we always begin the class is talking about buyer's agency and seller's agency and what that means. So I'm going to read to you guys just a little bit here. This is right from the contract taken. It's the state approved contract here for Colorado. Uh, these are what's called the uniform duties when working with a buyer. And this is pretty much going to be a baseline for even other states too. But of course, I'm not licensed in any other state other than Colorado, so I can't speak to that. But once you hear these duties, it'll make a lot of sense. This is what realtors really do across the board, right? So, regardless of who they represent, these are the uniform duties when working with a buyer. Performing the terms of any written or oral agreement with a buyer. That's pretty straightforward. You put something in writing, they agree to do something in writing, they're going to do it, right? Presenting all offers to and from buyer in a timely manner, regardless of whether buyer is already a party to the contract for the purchase of property. Disclosing to buyer adverse material facts actually known by broker. If I know that there's a crack in the foundation, right? It doesn't matter if I'm representing the buyer or the seller or neither. That's something that I'm required to disclose when I'm dealing with that particular buyer on a transaction. That would be an adverse material fact that I actually know about that property. Advising buyer regarding the transaction and advising buyer to obtain expert advice as to material matters about which broker knows, but the specifics of which are beyond the expertise of the broker. So again, how bad is that crack in the foundation? Well, I am no structural engineer. What I recommend is that you actually hire a structural engineer to come out and assess that for you, because they're going to be the subject matter expert there. Myself being the realtor, that's what I call outside of my lane. I'm going to stay in my lane and advise them to the transaction, to the real estate. But something that's beyond my expertise, I'm going to refer that on to an expert that can assist them further there. And that shifts liability for me as well as protects that buyer, right? I'm not saying, oh yeah, I've seen cracks, much worse than that, and it was totally fine. And it's not my business to even go there, right? They need the best expert advice. That's where I'm going to send them. Beautiful. How we doing? I'm going to click back over and see if we got some comments going on here. I got thumbs up. That's awesome. Right on. I'll give you my thumbs up too. Woohoo! Beautiful. Yeah. Let me know how it's going. Let me know if you can hear me, because I tested this out a few days ago just to make sure that the live stream was going to be legit, and it was pretty awesome. But you never know, once you actually do it, things could go wonky. So appreciate you guys being here. Let's keep rolling through this here. Accounting in a timely manner for all money and property received. If I receive a deposit here for, let's say I'm representing a landlord and I receive money for a security deposit, right? Accounting for that. And that's regardless of who I represent. It just makes a lot of sense, right? Keeping buyer fully informed regarding the transaction. Dates and deadlines come up during the transaction, when the inspection taking place, so on and so forth. Pretty straightforward stuff. Broker must not disclose the following information. Must not disclose the following information without the informed consent of buyer. 1, the buyer is willing to pay more than the purchase price offered for the property. 2, what the buyer's motivating factors are. 3, that buyer will agree to financing terms other than those offered. Or 4, that any material information about buyer, unless disclosure is required by law, or failure to disclose such information, would constitute fraud or dishonest dealing. Right? So again, we haven't even gotten into buyer agency yet. These are just uniform duties when I'm working with a buyer. So even if I am working with the seller and a buyer writes an offer on the property, I'm treating the buyer as a customer. What that term means is that I don't have that buyer agency agreement with that buyer. My agency is to the seller over here. I'm promoting and we'll get into the agency part next. But even without having that agency with them, I owe all this to that buyer. Now, let's jump in here to additional duties that come along with agency. If I am representing a buyer as their agent, I have the following additional duties: promoting the interests of the buyer with the utmost faith, loyalty, and fidelity, good faith, loyalty, and fidelity, seeking a price and terms that are acceptable to buyer, and counseling buyer as to any material benefits or risks of a transaction that are actually known by a broker. This is a pretty big deal because once you are an agent, you are looking out for that person. You're in their corner. You want the best for them in that transaction. Short of that, what I can summarize everything up to this point as would be what I call fair and honest business dealings is what I would owe to a buyer that I do not represent. But once I represent them, it kicks it up a notch, takes it to the next level. I'm promoting the interests of that buyer, putting them above my own, above everyone else's in the transaction. Why is this important? I'll tell you why. A lot of folks, when they're looking at properties online and they have questions about it, they will say, well, why do I want to speak to a buyer's agent that has nothing to do with this transaction? I want to go directly to the source. I want to go talk to the listing agent about it. I can definitely understand the merit there. The listing agent's going to be more familiar with the property, so I can't fault you for that. But here's where it gets tricky. You call up the listing agent. Hey, I'm interested in 123 Main Street. Can you tell me a little bit about it and everything? And you just get into a conversation. Maybe they show it to you. Maybe you meet them at the open house, and you're just getting chummy with them, having conversation, small talk, weather, this, that. Oh, we're so excited to be able to make this move. My landlord is listing their property for sale, so I have to be out by the end of the month. So I'm looking for something kind of like this. This looks pretty good. What have you just done there? You just told them what your motivating factors are. Who does that person represent? Do they represent you, the buyer? No, you have no agreement with them. They represent the seller. So when you submit your offer, now the seller is privy to that information that you have to be out by the end of the month. Now, how is that going to impact your negotiation power in that deal? That is why it's so important to have a buyer's agent in this market if you're buying, and if you're a seller, to be represented by a seller's agent. I hope that that makes a lot of sense to you guys. Definitely kick me some feedback here. If you have any stories or experiences with that, and I'd love to share that out here on the channel as well. But that's taken straight from the pages there, and that's what I go through with these first-time home buyers when I teach those classes. So I thought it'd be a great jumping off point for us here today. And I might wrap it up here with another story for you here. Um, I've been in the business now for 4 years. I've worked with several buyers, several sellers. But what's amazing to me about real estate is that there's always something more to be learned, and it's not always from someone that has been doing it longer than you, anything like that. Uh, this is a factoid that actually got brought to me by a brand new agent that I am mentoring, and they taught me something. See, they came and they have a property on the market now, and they had an asbestos test done of the popcorn ceiling in the unit. And looking at the age of the unit, it was built in the 70s. I was like, okay, we got a 50-50 chance here that there could be asbestos in it. Because it wasn't until the 1990s when that building material was outlawed, right? So thinking, okay, it could have it, it could not. Let's hope maybe there was a, you know, remodel done in the early 2000s and they didn't have it in there. Well, fortunately enough for them, it sounded like they were just fine, didn't have any issues with that. Um, it's a whole nother can of worms when there is asbestos and you want to scrape a popcorn ceiling. There's a process called remediation. But I digress. I'm going to come back to my point here. Speaking with that asbestos inspector, um, my mentee taught me this. They said, well, come to light that even properties that were built in the late 90s and early 2000s may still have asbestos in it. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, that can't be right. I mean, it was federally outlawed. He's like, well, this is what I was told is that apparently a lot of that building material was still out there when that law came to be, and contractors had an abundance of this building material with asbestos in it, and they continued to build with it for some time until that supply ran out, right? So just because it was just past that date where it was outlawed doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't have it. So even now, learning that brand new factoid, now even when I have folks looking at properties that were built, you know, early 2000s, late 90s, now that I'm armed with that knowledge, I can be a better agent to my clients. So, want to give a shout out to my mentee Sam for bringing that to my attention. I thought that was really cool. And just a little story I wanted to share with you guys, just to let you know that there's such a wealth of knowledge to be had out there, and you'd be surprised where you will learn things from. So I think being a great agent is not necessarily how long that you've been doing this, how many transactions, but how willing and able you are to educate yourself so that you can be a better agent for your clients. And that's kind of the other piece of why I'm putting this series together, this Q&A. I want to open up dialogue with folks out there that are curious about things, and I hope to learn some stuff from you guys as well. So, subscribe to the channel, send me a message if you have a story, a question, anything like that, um, because I want to continue the series each week, diving into new material, new everything for you guys. Already have a topic picked out for next week that we're going to dive into that I think a lot of folks are really curious about, and that's what renovations in my home will give me the greatest return on investment when I go to list and sell that property. So I'm going to just throw that out there right now as something that we're going to dive into for the next one, as a little teaser for you guys. I hope that you log in and check out the next one here too. These will all be recorded, by the way. This one's being recorded. Let me check in again here, see if we've got some chats going on. Um, I don't see any chats, but that's okay. I see that people are out there looking, and we got some thumbs up. I appreciate you guys logging in and checking out the feed. That's really awesome. Appreciate that. And yeah, there was one other piece of the Real Estate 101 class that I wanted to chat with you guys about here, and that would be, beginning your home search. What I always recommend to folks is to, instead of focusing on the price of the home, is to start speaking with a lender about your monthly affordability, right? What is your desired comfortable monthly housing payment? Because the lender from there will be able to let you know what that translates to, in terms of a purchase price. You might be thinking, oh, I can go up to 460 pretty easy, but if I get into 470, 475, I'm going to run into some trouble there. Well, are you for sure what those numbers mean, in terms of what a monthly housing payment might be? Because it also depends on the community that you're looking in, the tax rate, if there's an HOA or not. There's a couple other factors that go into it that will impact that. So a better metric for you as a home buyer is to figure out, first sit down, do a budget, figure out what your desired monthly payment would be, and then talk to a lender about what that purchase price would look like for you there. And then from there, of course, get pre-approved for that amount. So I think we'll dive into some more lending topics on other videos. Oh, we got another thumbs up. Woo-hoo! Yeah. That's what I like to see. Come on, people. That's awesome. Appreciate you. I'm feeling the love over here. Thank you. So, and then as far as the home goes, a good practice that I recommend to folks is to take a sheet of paper, draw a line right down the middle, and have your must haves and then have your nice to haves. Because what initially at the beginning of your search, list your must haves out. These are non-negotiables. I gotta have that third bedroom. I gotta have that 2-car stall garage. Right? These are the important things that I have. And then don't be surprised if when you start your search, if you start seeing things jump from one side to the other and vice versa. Because a lot of times we don't know what we don't know, especially for a first-time home buyer. So once you get out there and really start experiencing some showings, I encourage you to hit some open houses if you're thinking about buying in the new year. Um, there's not a ton of inventory right now, but we're anticipating it picking up here in the spring. It's just a seasonal thing that happens every year. So get out there and of course, ask your favorite realtor some questions on the live YouTube Q&A. Right? If you've got questions pertaining to your particular situation, you can always send me a direct message, text, or whatnot. I'll plug my phone number into the chat box here. Show that phone in. There it is. There it is. Okay. Awesome. So that's me. Feel free to reach out, call, text, email, send a woof. You Office fans know what that's all about. And yeah, other than that, if it's something that I think everyone could benefit from hearing the answer on the channel here, um, you know, I'll probably shoot you back an answer, privately on the message you sent me, as well as circle back to it on here. And that way, I feel like if everyone could benefit from the question that you ask and what the answer is to that, I'll definitely bring those back here. I'm not going to make you wait till next week to give you your answer if you're taking the time to reach out to me, but I might also circle back to it just so that everyone can benefit. Cool. Awesome. Well, 20 minutes, not too bad for our first one. I think that I'm going to call that a wrap here. Appreciate everyone that logged in to check it out live today. Thank you. First one, that's what's up. Yeah. And we're going to keep doing this. So, you guys send me some stuff to chat about on here and we'll make it happen. All right. Awesome. Keep it real. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're watching this after the live, you missed out on a good time, but you can still benefit from the information. So this will be posted up on the YouTube channel, and I'll share the video out there for folks on social networks to check it out after the fact. Appreciate you guys. Have a great one, and we'll chat some more next week about ROI on those home renovations. See you.